This is Never Alone. Developed by Upper One Games, it's a game in which actual Inupiat people are able to tell their stories through a video game. It merges Inupiat beliefs and folklore with real-life experiences of Alaskan natives for the game's narrative. Meet Nuna. We follow Nuna as she sets out on an adventure to try and discover the source of unrelenting blizzards which are making life difficult for her and her people. Along the way, she makes friends with an Arctic fox, who becomes a travelling companion. The main selling point for the game is that it educates you in a pretty unique way, and the content is genuinely interesting. As you progress, you unlock insights. Some of these include Inupiat people telling stories of their experiences, and it all ties in with the game nicely. It doesn't feel like a chore to jump out and watch these videos. For example, this guy. He tells a story of how when he was young, he became stranded on a piece of ice that broke away from the land and drifted out to sea. In the game, this happens to Nuna, and so to a degree you get to play out this gentleman's predicament. It's your standard scrolling platformer with the odd puzzle thrown in, the novelty value being placed on having a cute sidekick, which is controllable with a second joypad. The fox is more of a guiding spirit than just a cute pet. He has the gods looking out for him, and uses this to help Nuna get out of some hairy situations. Some of these parts of the game can be fun in two-player, when you're working in unison and act out a well-timed manoeuvre. There are, however, long periods of the game where you just seem to be walking or jumping from platform to platform with no real urgency, and while it looks pretty, some of it just feels like you're going through the motions to kill time. Never Alone's visuals are really, really beautiful. In fact, the presentation of the whole game is pretty much impeccable. From the gameplay itself to the basic storytelling, animations and videos, the aesthetic design is top notch. The character models are stunning. The only negative I can draw in terms of visuals is that the animation can look a little bit crude in places, but I think this is down to the movement of your character, and this is where the problems lie. The controls are infuriating, it lets the game down massively. Your character doesn't feel solidly weighted and it's hard to gauge jumps due to the physics being so shit and unpredictable. This is most noticeable when more intricate movements are required. For example, trying to walk off a ledge triggers this annoying animation of Nuna flailing about trying to get a balance. Then when you do manage to step off, you overshoot and end up falling to your death. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Sometimes you just won't attach to a surface for no obvious reason, and the game punishes you for mistakes which are rarely your fault. The game works best when utilising open environments, giving you the space to run and jump freely. There are sections of the game where you're being pursued and you have to move quickly or die. In terms of the gameplay, these are the parts that make it shine. They're fun and arse-clenchingly tense. Switching between characters to negotiate obstacles at speed feels enjoyable, and this is because you're given the space to do it. Your movement just doesn't work when you're in confined spaces, and can be so bad that it feels like your characters and the beautifully illustrated environment that you're in just aren't connected. I'm disappointed. I'm being harsh, but only because it's the silly control issues and a few dead spaces in the gameplay that ruin what could have been a really memorable experience. Granted, it's short. I finished it in one sitting just shy of 3 hours, but that's not the issue. I can't criticise Upper One Game's intentions with the project, and the majority of the execution is flawless. The insights are fascinating and well spread out. The presentation is stellar, and everybody in the game, real or fictional, is likeable. It's clear that there's a lot of work and research gone into it. It's not awful, it's just fucking irritating. I'd say pick it up in a sale and play it with a friend. I don't enjoy saying negative things about a project like this, but when it comes down to it, this is a video game review. And Never Alone isn't a book, it isn't a documentary, it's a game. It's a case of style over function. On the WayneScale, Never Alone gets 2 Waynes out of 5.